Hey guys, Artosis here, bringing you some more games from the CNSL 5. Right now we are in Group D of the round of 16, and this is the losers match. The loser here will be out of the tournament. The winner goes on to face Absolute to see who will go on as the final player in the round of 8. Right now we have RideSky down one game, starting over on the left-hand side of Neosylphid, and his opponent, of course, taking that first game, Mind. Mind, definitely someone that I have loved forever. I keep talking about it, and I think his big brain really did show through in that previous game in this series. Now, we'll see. Okay, so RideSky is going to go for a center 8 barracks. This is, like, basically this will hard counter any sort of super fast expansion. If you go barracks expand, there's some small chance that you'll live through it. It kind of comes down to like scout timing and things like that. And then if you go command center first, 100% you will die here. Even if you go for a factory expand, there is the potential that this can do some damage to you if you kind of scout it late or miss micro at all or misjudge the situation. And honestly, like, this build can go into a factory relatively quickly, but it does need some damage. So we see this is a barracks coming up, and we'll see if Mind goes for that gas as well. So right now, it's looking like Mind should be able to defend this without too much of a problem. But again, there's a lot of small factors at play here that we're going to have to watch, right? So now the barracks is finishing up. This one is about, you know, almost halfway done, which means you're going to have plus about 2 Marines popping out of this, right? It's about 15 seconds for a Marine, 50 seconds for a barracks overall. So yeah, we're going to have about plus 2 Marines from the 8 racks player. But one thing to mention is that you can only make 3 Marines off this if you want to go fast factory with it. Otherwise, you're delaying your factory a huge amount. You basically have to cut SCVs, you have to cut Marines. We'll see how much damage he can actually end up getting done. Here's the 3rd Marine building right now. RideSky is going, or Mind is going across, and he will scout RideSky first. Here's that 3rd Marine being made. RideSky getting ready for his own factory. He can start that in just a moment here. 1 Marine being made for Mind. And there we go. We have all 3 Marines out now. Now, 3 Marines in an SCV against a single Marine. You have to pull quite a few SCVs over here to make sure you hold on. Let's see what he can do. He starts the 2nd Marine immediately. This SCV going to go down almost instantaneously. Pops another one on right away, but it jumps to the left, so he loses that one very quickly as well. 4 SCVs plus a Marine here actually do not beat 3 Marines and a single SCV. Oh, God. It looks like RideSky is going to get a lot of damage here. Gets both of the Marines. He is, I don't know if he can really get another SCV. With this Marine, he should be able to. And by the way, as he started to lose some units, he does make an additional Marine to send down. So I really like that decision-making there. And, in fact, kills another Marine and can continue the pressure. You have to make another Marine here as Mind. But let's take a look at the actual position. It's 13 SCVs against 14, so it feels like RideSky probably did enough. Factory is done with vulture making, and look at this. The vulture is actually slightly faster from RideSky. So at the end of the day here, his barracks will scout first. He has no Marines except for this one. I guess I was going to say no Marines at all, but he does have this one at home that he rallied. He's going for a starport. This is there's several different follow-ups you can do with this. You can go expansion. You can go 2 factory. 2 factory is probably the weakest. Factory starport is pretty good with it. In this particular case, you can see Intermind here going across the map. He has a vulture. He has 2 Marines and a 2nd vulture on the way, 3rd vulture being made. So when he groups these up, it'll be great. But look at that. RideSky comes down with his double vulture. And actually, he should be able to win this. You want to pick off the Marines first. Their DPS is actually slightly higher. And look at that. He actually does start to trade really well. He's going to want to hit as many times as he can with this Marine as well. That's some good micro right there from Mind. Gets away from that Marine and will end up on top. Green Vulture comes out from RideSky. He's still making those Vultures as well. Both sides producing the Vultures nonstop. This is actually really very cool to see. I have to tell you, like right now I'm kind of taking notes in my head as I watch it, the way that Mind is playing against this build, the way that he's building the vultures non-stop here. He goes in and he's going to lose this vulture. So RideSky has a little bit of an edge as far as army units go. And in fact, he went for add-on right away. So he's going for a very quick cloak here, whereas Mind goes for an armory. So he's still on one factory vulture and making an armory. And look at this, he's going to make a barracks as well. So, I mean, a bunker as well while making Marines out of his barracks. So what this tells us is he's not entirely sure what he's against. This is to hedge against Wraith. This is to hedge against a mass vulture build from 2 factory. The bunker would help him to end up holding that. So see, he gets the bunker up, throws a Marine in, he's going to get a second Marine, and then you're kind of invincible against vultures. And of course, he knows that it's not going to be like siege tanks or anything because he's seen non-stop vultures. He kind of forced that by making his own vultures non-stop. So this is very, very cool. Like, I feel like Mind has kind of countered or defended well against everything that could be coming out. He got a lot of information a lot of different ways, but RideSky is not dead yet. He's actually still up in SCVs by a couple, and he is about to have some Wraiths out. Well, there you go. He actually does already have a Wraith across the map. A second Wraith is going to be finishing, and he's going to have Cloak. And there's the Academy. So the Academy just got started. Okay, Cloak is done. So this is going to be a while. It's 50 seconds for the Academy, and then it takes 25 seconds for an add-on. Right? So that's 75 seconds before he can get a scan from this point. And sometimes you can delay that more by doing things like attacking with the Wraith on the SCVs that are building it. Oh, and he just cloaks in the nick of time right there. This is very, very annoying, but this is a very important thing. If you're being attacked by Wraiths, you need to make your Academy in the middle. You can't put it against a wall because you need to be able to repair your SCV like we see here from Mind. So very, very well done. And with these 3 SCVs repairing, if this SCV doesn't move too much, he can keep it alive for a very long time. If this was like tucked in there, he would lose probably 6, 7 SCVs easily, right? But in this case, he's really not lost that much. He's got 3 Goliaths now. The Wraiths are getting some damage, no doubt. There's lost mine time, there's repair costs, there are SCVs that are dying. But don't forget, he has this command center up a little bit more quickly. So he is going to get ahead in that regard. We have the comm stats that are going to be finishing up. The Wraiths, of course, want to get out of here. One of them is incredibly badly hurt already, so definitely wants to go back and repair it. And now we have siege mode on the way for RideSky. This is... I feel like this game is like a perfect example of how to play both of these builds against each other, because look at the actual position we're in after that 8 barracks into 1 base cloaked Wraith into expansion, right? If we kind of zoom out, it's like, okay, well, he's actually got a fair amount of vultures. He's got a couple tanks with siege mode almost done. He's got some Wraiths. His command center finishes, and he's actually up a single SCV against Mind. Now, Mind does have his comm stats, so that costs 4 SCVs of build time to get those up, and he's getting into his 3rd factory, whereas RideSky already has 2 and a starport. So, like, these positions are pretty darn even, to be honest. Like, I don't know what position you guys would rather play here. I feel like I could take either of these spots and be like, yeah, I feel fine, you know, against what my opponent has. Absolutely. Like, these are both very, very playable positions. So I feel like both these guys did fantastically with their builds. Like, obviously, you'd look in and be like, well, he's ahead. He did really well with that. It's like, no, I think that they were 2 builds that can be complicated to play against each other, but they both made a lot of good choices against each other, and we're kind of even. Look at how close it is. Wow, that's, I don't know. This fills me with happiness to see a TVT like this. All right, so the Wraith's going around to scout. He actually did not heal this one up, did not repair that. So that's a little bit risky. That'll go down to a Goliath hit very, very quickly. A Goliath on the side of the base here for Mind. This Goliath is to catch dropships or Wraiths coming in. That is a very common ploy. You know, you have all those vultures. In fact, yeah, see, he had all those extra vultures. You definitely want to get a dropship and try to see if you can go down, drop those off, get some SCV kills. That's one way you could definitely work to be ahead, considering you have that starport. That's not going to be super valuable right now doing anything else. 2 more factories coming up from Mind. The Wraiths flying over, getting ready to maybe poke in. And here comes the dropship. Oh, I think he knows. I think he knows, okay? Because we see Mind moving his units over, and he will go ahead and catch this. One vulture gets dropped. I think he might just fly out of here, honestly. There's nothing for RideSky to do. He loses a vulture. He takes some damage. Who cares? It's fine. The vulture is really not worth a whole lot right now, but gets some good intel. He sees what's going on. He sees 5 factory. He sees no +1 yet. He sees siege tanks and vultures being made. That's good information. Oh, no! Oh, no! He actually gets caught here, but barely makes it through. Drops off a single vulture, and you know what? He's actually going to get a couple of CV kills, so that's pretty good. This dropship probably won't do much else this game. With range done, you can sit your Goliaths here, do the scan, and you're going to be able to kill it. We'll see if he actually ends up doing that. Yeah, he does. He scans, kills it off, and goodbye to the dropship. So now we have the 4 factory play here from RideSky. He is getting speed and mines for his vultures, double siege tank production at a time, making a very nice arc here. Mined in a very defensive position. He's got 4 tanks kind of set up, some vultures here as well. He scans and sees the amount of tanks. How is he going to break through here? He's going to have to produce non-stop and just do a beautiful, beautiful bust. He might start breaking from the side. Yeah, sieging up a little bit. Okay, he does kill that off without losing a tank. Very, very important indeed. But don't forget, RideSky with these wraiths can actually get more vision. He can actually do a little bit better with tank lines, but Mind is doing a great job, right? These were horizontal like this, so Mind went up from the side so that tanks could only shoot him one at a time and made multiple tanks shoot at a time. So far, doing a very good job dealing with this situation. Nice pullback there from RideSky. And in fact, moving more tanks down. Oh my god, RideSky is really doing a powerful push here. This is very, very tough for Mind. That is a lot of siege tanks. Now, the line of Mind is super strong as well. This is a lot of tanks that can fire at once. If you overextend at all, you could lose a hell of a lot of tanks here from RideSky. But right now, he does have Mind in a tough spot. Now, some vultures around here trying to lay some mines, trying to stop additional units from coming up. RideSky is taking that third base, similar to Mind, similar times on those. The Wraith still getting a little bit of scouting done, trying to get some siege tanks into a nice position here. Looks like he is going to go ahead and dive upon this one siege tank. Definitely doesn't want it hitting his SCVs mining over here. In fact, going to move his own siege tanks into position here to prevent that. Well, scan goes down there. Even sacks his vulture to take those additional tank hits. Beautifully done by Mind, and will eliminate some additional tanks there. So suddenly, this siege tank contain is not quite as strong. We have 6 tanks here, and then on Mind's side, look at that, we have 9 siege tanks. Single Wraith still being mildly annoying here, but it feels like once these come down, Mind could be in trouble. So I'd like to see him try to bust pretty quickly. If he can get rid of these and move into a more central position, that would be very strong. But it looks like he's going to sit back for now. Pretty content. He is getting his starport. That +1 about halfway done, so it is going to want to get into +2 as well. RideSky not getting any attack upgrades. Kind of skipped out on those to get the bigger siege tank containment. That's a pretty common thing. If you see someone that's aggressively trying to contain, they'll skip things like armory upgrades in order to get more tanks out to the front a little bit more quickly because they're just so powerful. Ooh, he moves up maybe a little bit too close there. His tanks will be able to pick this one off. Takes quite a bit of damage there. Oh my god, 12 damage on each left. So any hits will eliminate them. More tanks and Goliaths working their way down. Finally adding some more factories here is RideSky. Going up to 6. Mind as well, thinking that is exactly what he needs to do. Making his own wraiths. Oh, that's actually a good point. There's actually no Goliaths out here as of yet. And now finally Mind is going to try to bust. Goes ahead, utilizes his vultures here with his siege tanks. Does break out of that containment on the south. This is a very big moment. The siege tank count for RideSky has dwindled on this containment. And as we're so close to Mind's base, he is able to get a lot of units out here very quickly. I'd love to see this Wraith fly up, get a little bit of extra damage, get a little bit of scouting done as well. Still trying to siege anything he can here. I mean, RideSky's dealing a lot of damage to these tanks, but he's not finishing as many off. Mind is getting a higher army supply at this point. There's a lot of vultures being fielded as well. Does he have a third add-on? He does. He does. Okay, so really trying to double down on those siege tanks, which is definitely the right move once you have the third gas up. You need that third add-on. Mind pushing up. getting this more wide open position. He wants this base to get another gas, incredibly important. And the further you push your opponent back, the more wiggle room that you have, right? So he's kind of pushed him back in this area. This is breakable after RideSky gets another like group of units. He may be able to break it, like maybe one more additional group coming out of here. And then it's possible to break through. Down here, like this is close to the rally, a little bit harder, but this seems breakable as well. RideSky is sending down more siege tanks. Third add-on is getting started here for Mind. Right now up on 7 factories. A little bit more here for RideSky up at 8. 75 SCVs to 65. A very highly contested game right now, right? Like, you have to speak a lot in generalities in Terran versus Terran because so many things can go right or wrong for a player. For instance, you try to break out of one of these containments, I mean, you might just lose the game if it goes poorly. But if you do break it and you gain some tempo, you gain some space on the map, suddenly you might be far ahead of your opponent. So games can swing very quickly in Terran versus Terran. You see right now, Mind pushing forward, breaks that area, and the game, like, he's really breaking the game open. Now he's controlling this area, which means these bases might end up going to him, but RideSky is rotating down to the south. Now, I think there's enough tanks here. You can't quite break it, but this is a beautiful position. He's going to be able to siege up on this command center. And don't forget, this is not high ground. There's, like, different looking terrain here, but really, this is just a blocker. It doesn't even block vision. So this area is now under siege, which stops the rallying up to this group of tanks as well. If RideSky can hold here, so that Mind can't get more units to the north, RideSky may eventually be able to break through that group of tanks as well. But as is, Mind is breaking back very, very well. It's like the tanks being targeted from RideSky nicely. You have Mind with +2 on the way. RideSky starts his well, though a little bit slower. RideSky going in for an attack right now into Mind's natural. RideSky is starting to get higher supply, but not that much unit-wise. A lot of it is in his worker count. And Mind should be able to hold on here still. It feels like Mind is just defending everywhere. That's really what it feels and looks like at the moment, right? Like, he's getting just enough tanks to where they need to be. And RideSky's little pushes are not doing it. I almost feel like he constricted too quickly. Sometimes it's better to just have a ridiculous siege line where the siege tank counts grow and grow and grow rather than get damage with them. Because if you actually have the map cut, like, where you have more than half of it, like he did earlier, and you're not trying to push into siege lines of your opponent, sometimes that just becomes impossible to break. And those games can be very difficult. So it's really... I've talked to Terran pros that have said it's actually quite stressful to play TVT in tournaments because you get these positions where you're like, oh, am I going to break that cleanly enough? And then you don't, and you're like, oh, I lose. And it's tough. It's tough. Siege tanks just have such a defender's advantage. Now, +2 is about to finish for Mind. That is a huge moment. He has 2-1 upgrades. That's fantastic on siege tanks. They now two-shot other siege tanks while in siege mode. RideSky does not have that yet. He will have it relatively soon, but that means that it's much harder to attack into Mind, and if he's trying to break a position and he targets his tanks just right, he needs less shots to kill his opponent's tanks, which is absolutely gigantic. Like, if you're taking one less volley at some tanks, they get one less volley at you. So, huge, huge moment there for Mind. We'll see if he's able to utilize it at all. We don't see that as of yet. A little vulture run by here from Mind. Doesn't look like he's going to get anything done. Plenty of vultures from RideSky coming up to deny that, even though these vultures have slightly better upgrades. Little drop coming out from Mind. Now, it looks like Mind wanted to drop the main base of RideSky, but the Cloaked Wraiths did force him back. The Cloaked Wraiths take down all of the dropships, but he actually loses a lot there. And honestly, this position for Mind's units isn't bad at all. Like, getting some tanks sieged up here, pretty strong, actually, because now he can set up a command center over in this location, like maybe build one over here and just float it in, or just break through, and he's already got defense against drops and things like that. But if you look at the overall map right now, okay, let's do that. Let's zoom out. Let's zoom out. RideSky has a frontier. He has a more defensive position here right down the middle, right? This is like exactly middle because your opponent's siege line would be there, and this is the actual middle of the map. So he's got exact middle here and forward here. So actual map, as far as the map goes, it's slightly RideSky favored, but Mind is getting a good position. This is fantastic. This group is preventing a lot of movement this way, which means he's controlling the entrance to this base. That is big. On a 3-player map, whoever controls the third main ends up being at a big advantage, and that's oftentimes where you see a lot of fights. 3-player maps don't get to battlecruiser wars very often at all, because normally someone just has more of the map, and you simply must be attacking them in quicker ways than battlecruisers can afford you. Now, Mind's starting to move out, getting into position. He does have that +2, but RideSky has it now as well. RideSky comes up with a huge reinforcement of siege tanks here. His Vultures and Goliaths going out to the front. Pulls back the Goliaths for the most part. Very good choice there. Lets the Vultures eat some shots, but overall, Mind a little bit stronger on the ground here. He is retaking this area. Now, this line that we see here is extremely important for RideSky, and that is because of this base and where his main is situated. The back of his main is towards the front of Mind's base, so he really needs to hold this area so that there can't be a quick push into here. Now, you see Mind just scanned. He saw the turrets. He's trying to figure out, are there tanks here? Are there mines? Are there turrets? What am I looking at? Can I do a drop into the main base? A lot of times that can spell disaster in this matchup, especially on Sylphid. It takes a long time to take units that are up here and send them back to defend, or, God forbid, units out in the center and send them back to defend. It's not going to be a good moment. Now, RideSky has his own 3 dropships flying around the map right now. Vulture tank inside. This is probably to clear the SCVs and whatnot here. I imagine he's going to drop here. There's a possibility of dropping in the main, but it might be more powerful to get rid of those SCVs. In the meantime, we have Mind moving over. He is going to siege up this area. And again, like I said, this is very, very powerful. Not only does it help you with this base and this base, but sometimes you can actually siege up and give support to drops you're going to do in the main base. Now, we have this drop hitting this base as expected, so the SCVs absolutely have to get out of there. And now Mind going to fly right into the missile turrets. He doesn't care at all. He's going to go ahead and unload, and this is going to be very, very hard to clear for RideSky. RideSky, well, he's actually up in supply is the funny thing, but I think right now Mind is taking the advantage. This is the one very good thing going on for RideSky, but other than that, he's going to lose, like, his armory. He's going to lose, like, every single depot. He's bringing a lot of units back. Let's see if he can clear this very cleanly. Can he get rid of these units without losing too much? I don't know about that. If Mind targets, it's going to be very, very bad. And there you go. A little bit of targeting going on. And oh my God, he's really just destroying the tanks now. Brings his own dropships back, but no units are inside of them. And this doesn't look good for RideSky. He has some bank, but this is a lot of damage being dealt. What else does he have going on? He's trying to rebuild some supply depots. He has a lot of minerals sitting there. He should eventually be able to clean this. And, oh, the drop over here did get cleaned up as well. He's going to go ahead and send his 3rd base command center up to Mine from this location. Okay, he has a command center over here, but Mind has more dropships. So what is Mind going to end up doing here with his 5 dropships? He's loading up a lot of siege tanks. This could end up being like some sort of death blow. What are we doing here? This is like just 5 tanks. He's going to be in trouble if there's Goliaths in these. Yeah, there are some Goliaths in those as well. Drops a single tank off. What do these 3 dropships do? You know, this is a real thing in TVT where you see these types of situations. Dropships are just mirroring each other. And with the amount that he has, this might be just a game ender for Mind. That is a lot of siege tanks indeed. Now, these don't... Well, I mean... There's really nothing left. GG. Even though he has 4,000 minerals, Mind moves on to the final match.